Kahalo Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Bakakwadash. Double to the elders and apostles of Great Nelson of Ruel. I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. Don't know what I'm going to title this, but this is just a kind of a dive into the race-based pseudoscience of, how Jake was known as 3/5 of a human and why they were able, or why these, well, the first and foremost, they were able to do so because the Lord allowed it, but, the methods that they used in order to systematically disrupt the, I guess, natural social progression of Jake after, post-slavery. So, when they left us alone, we had all these different towns and can't have that. So, the towns were bombed and burned and then flooded, and now they're lakes and state parks and hotels that we own were just taken. Land that we own was just taken and then passed down with them for generation to generation, getting, gaining wealth throughout the years. So we're gonna go, and this is mostly like psychology. So this is in the late 1800s to the 1900s. But what we'll do is go to 1 Timothy 6 and 19. We're gonna open with the science falsely so-called, and we'll go into that. If you've been here before, we've done this, but we'll do it again because iron sharpens iron, right? And you want to make sure you're on the up and up with your stuff. Okay, 6 and 19. Wait. Okay, yeah, here we go. So this is 1 Timothy 6 and 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning faith, grace be with thee. Oh man, so we're gonna go, we're just gonna open up each one, so we know what profane is, but we're gonna open it up anyway. Alright, profane, unhallowed, common, okay, and then oppositions of science or gnosis. Alright, knowledge signifies in general intelligence, understanding, okay, general knowledge of, of the law, statutes, and commandments is what it should say, okay. Pseudo Nymos, or yeah, I think it's pseudonymos or pseudonymos. Let's see.
Strong's G 5581.
Strong's G
Pseudonymous.
5581.
Pseudonymos. Falsely named. And they did a lot of that. And they did a lot of projection. Everything that they are negative, they put on Jake. Okay? And they've been doing this because why? The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. So we'll get that. We're going to make sure we get everything. Because I'm not on my phone and I'm not driving, so I want to make sure I get everything that I mentioned. Alright, there's no excuse if you're not, Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? Right, so not only, the iconoclasm and the destruction of the original paintings, or painting over them and putting pale-faced people there, but basically you can also link this as well, okay, covering up, basically saying Jake is less than, and that they're the Africans, they calling you everything but what they say, call you everything but a child of God, right? Okay, so we're going to start with here. This is the Encyclopedia Britannica, volume 19, okay? So we're going to look at what the definition of the Negro is. There's a certain Gosh, let me slow down. There is a certain paragraph that I want to read, and I'm going to jump around here. But like I said, we're going to I'm trying to find it and talk at the same time. Okay, yeah, we're going to jump around a little bit, but again, Encyclopedia Britannica, volume 19. Okay, and I'll do my best to remember to link this in the description. Hopefully I do. No, prayerfully I do. So we're going to go, I think it's right here. I need to make this a little bit bigger. Alright, maybe y'all can see that too. Okay, so it goes into the different, here it's talking about all the indigenous people of these certain lands that they've invaded, and how they differ from the Negro, right? So you got the Negroid types with the dark skin, but you also have the actual, or what will be classified as the Negro, right? The Zondervan's Bible Dictionary tells you Ham was a progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negro, okay? Israel is the Lord's portion. I think we need that. Forget it. We gonna get to it. We gonna get to the reading. I think because there's a couple of scriptures we can get that mentions that. Okay, yeah. So Deuteronomy 32 and 9. We'll read that first since we're already here, and then I'll go to the Apocrypha in a second. Alright, straight to the point here, Deuteronomy 32 and 9. For Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Okay, who did Jacob give birth to? We'll get that too. I want to get that too. But let me go Ecclesiasticus 17:17. So we weren't that far. This is a bad chapter, by the way. 19. Okay, straight to the point here. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people, but Israel is the Lord's portion. Right, Jacob and Israel, the same people. Remember, his name was changed from Jacob to Israel, Yasharallah, and we're gonna, I don't remember where it's at. We're gonna get those. We're gonna get that as well. Alright, Exodus 6 and 1. So we'll go there. Alright. Then the Lord said unto Moses, now shalt thou see. Oh, hold on. No, this is too far. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Yahweh was I not known. Oh, crap. It's to, okay, maybe it's down here. The sons of Reuben, firstborn of Israel, okay, which his name was Jacob, but he wrestled with that angel and his name he was renamed. Okay, sons of Simeon, right, these are the different tribes. It's these, alright, sons of Levi, right, is it going to go through all 12? I think it's been a, okay, so it doesn't, but you can look, you get the gist. I wanted to make sure I was trying to be thorough, but you get the gist. You can also look and find up to 12 tribes, right? Yeah, okay. So, I'm going to read other characteristics to be a hypertrophy of the organ's excretions. Alright. Okay, so yeah, here, this is what we're looking for. Alright, so this is where we're starting. In certain of the characteristics mentioned above, the Negro would appear to stand on a lower evolutionary plane than the white man, and to be more closely related to the highest anthropod. The characteristics are length of arms, prognathism, and a heavy massive cranium with large zygomatic arches, flat nose, depressed at the base, but in one important respect, the character of the hair. The white man stands in closer relation to the higher apes than the, so they're trying to see who's closer to a monkey. All right, but we understand that a man without the laws of the Lord is a beast. So we know who the beasts are and who aren't. Now, prognathism is the protruding of the jaw, right? So if your jaw, that bottom part comes out a little more, or if it's still, actually I think it does, the top or the bottom part of the jaw comes out more. Heavy massive cranium with large zygomatic arches. So that's what we're going to get. What is the zygomatic arch? Okay, zygomatic arch, bridge of the bone extending from the temporal bone at the side of the head around the maxilla, upper jawbone. Okay. In front and including the zygomatic of the cheek bone as a major portion. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's where we're at. Mentally, this is where we're at now. Mentally, the Negro is inferior to the white. The remark of F. Mineta, and I believe we're actually, no, we didn't, I didn't have him pulled up. Anyway, of F. Mineta, made after a long study of the Negro in America, may be taken as generally true to the whole of the race. The Negro children were sharp intellect and full of vivacity, but on the approaching of the adult period, a gradual change sets in. The intellect seems to become clouded, animation giving place to a sort of lethargy, briskness yielding indolence, so lazy, basically. The nigga is lazy. And we were lazy once we were, you know, I'm not going to say freed from slavery, but change of ownership from private to corporate. Um, yeah, now we're lazy. And all these tropes, the blackface, there were even white actors that did these shows. I think it's the Amos and Andy show. Let's find that. Yeah. Yeah. They were they did blackface, right? And it was the stereotypes of the dumb Negro, can't pronounce words, all and it started out as the radio, but then when they got on the screen, they did the blackface, right? This can also be a covering of the faces of the judges, because although we were going off, okay, the Lord had always meant for His people. Uh, um, He was only meant for us to be punished, not to be wiped away. And we are still who we are, okay? And tried to smear, did a whole smear campaign. Baruch 4 and 6. Right, because the Lord never intended to wipe us away, right? Baruch 4 and 6. You were sold to the nations not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath, or you moved Yahweh to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies, all right? For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not unto God, right? Also, the idols, all right? Ye have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when she saw the wrath of God coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion. Yahweh hath brought upon me great mourning, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. And we are nearing the end. This is that final leg of second beast. I'm sorry, the final leg of that fourth beast. When I slip of the tongue. So I meant the second half, because right, that deadly wound was healed, and that healing is right here in Babylon the Great. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children are desolate, because they departed from the law of God. So this is a crash course right here. The Lord would let this devil go as far as he wanted to go. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, I speak as a man, to really drive the point home. Okay? really, really drive the point home. Mentally, Okay, so as a child, they're bright white, and I believe this was written this was written in this manner, because children are impressionable. They, as long as you put your vibration on that child is going to, do as you do, and be more ready and willing to accept what is presented. But the older you get, right, and you realize, that this devil is really a devil, he's a piece of shit. Now you're no use to them, so now you're indolent. You're indolent, all right? You're lazy. Let's see. Intellect seems to be unclouded. That's what we read already. We must necessarily suppose that the development of the Negro and the white proceeds on different lines, while with the latter, the volume of the brain grows with the expansion of the brain pan. In the former, the growth of the brain is, on the contrary, arrested by the premature closing of the cranial sutures and lateral pressure of the frontal lobe. This explains This explanation is reasonable, but it's not, and even probable, as contributing cause by evidences. But evidence is lacking on the subject, and arrest or even deterioration in mental development is no doubt, but very largely due to the fact that after puberty, sexual matters take sorry. Sexual matters take first place in the Negro's life and in thought. So, Jake like to pipe, alright? But that, come on now. When the playing field is even, these devils, they can't compete. Alright, and history will tell you over and over and over. Everything that you see around you damn near is made by a so-called black or brown person. Alright, Jake does the creating and Esau creates the patent office. Let's see. And it's not fair to judge his mental capacity by tests taken directly from the environment of the white man. As for instance, tested mental arithmetic skill in reckoning is necessary to the white race and has cultivated this faculty, but it is not necessary to the Negro. Why? Because the Negro, you are not in your rulership. You don't have to have the forethought. Alright, this is his heaven. So they have to have that, cognitive reasoning and mental arithmetic, alright, and good judgment. On the other hand, the Negro far surpasses the white man in acuteness of vision, hearing, sense of direction, and topography. A native who have once visited a particular locality will rarely fail to recognize it again. This is interesting. You can read through this. I'm not going to read all of that. I'm going to make a note here now to link this in the description. With the Negro, as with the most primitive people, it is the malignant power which receives attention from man with the view of propitiation or coercion. So yeah, they got Jake, us, or they thought they had Jake down to a science. Okay, so the people we're going to be going into here: Granville Stanley Hall, or G. Stanley Hall, Paul Popenoe, Lewis Madison, and then Audrey Shuey. Oh, Charles Murphy. Okay, so we're going to look into all of these race-based pseudoscience. And again, there's nothing new under the sun. So never underestimate how quickly an Edomite can pull a fake statistic from their ass when they're ready to be racist. So, and this is where they get most of this stuff from. So that's what this, mainly, that's what this video is about here. Okay, so psychology, hidden history, racist roots of poison and poison fruits. Okay, so we're looking at Granville Stanley Hall on other races inferiority. And I just typed that in. And we're just going to click on the one we see. We're going to go into these together. Alright, with racialized societies, the meaning of race, and race simply just, is seed, who you are. You are who your father is. Okay, so that's Numbers 10, about the seed, or about the pedigree. I think it's in Numbers 10. Oh, when I learn. Is it that? I know it's in Numbers 10. Oh my gosh, okay. Children eventually took their journey. Oh. By their fathers. I know it's Numbers 10. Where are you? We're gonna do it like that. It's Numbers 1 and 18. Okay. Alright. Damn. What just happened? Okay. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the name, from 20 years old and upwards, by their polls. Get that word pedigree. Oh, too far. Yalad. Bear bring fruit of a child. Okay. Alright. There's some key points I want to get, but I just need to find. Maybe I should just stick with the top. Alright, field of psychology. Rooted in racism, as everything else in this place. Everything. It is woven into the fabric. That in innocent blood is woven into the fabric of this place. Alright. Outspoken racist and eugenicist. Granville Stanley Hall, or G. Stanley Hall. Pioneer in American psychology. Educator. Alright, focus on childhood development and evolutionary theory. Alright, all of the, and that again, and they even though the theory is in the title, they still take it as law, as a scientific fact. Right, and they want to use evolution because it helps cover up or helps support the lie that they talk about. Many of the lies that they talk about when it comes to race-based science. Mental, and this is a quote, the mental inferiority of black people was unquestionable for Hall. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the quote. Stage of incomplete growth. Oh, he was all, I skipped, I missed a whole paragraph. He also advanced the idea that Africans, Indians, and Chinese were members of adolescent races. So you in stages of incomplete growth. Okay, the mental inferiority was unquestionable for Hall, though he did hope for their eventual advancement. Yeah, right. He was the first president of the American Psychological Association. Let that sink in. Okay. So his racist notions were found wide acceptance in the field. Paul Popenow, okay, who we also are going into, practitioner of marriage counseling, asserted that intelligence is determined by the amount of white blood one has. He wrote the Negro race is germinally lacking in higher developments of intelligence. Popenoe and Johnson, 1918. His early years, he worked as an agricultural explorer on scholar of heredity, and he played a notorious role in the eugenics movement. All right, now we know about Margaret Sanger and oh, that's an entire thing here. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I link all of these. You can come to this on your own. I'm not gonna, cause I haven't sifted through it, so we're not gonna go to that. Salaki, give me just a second.